All right. So now we're going to get into team collaboration tools. So these are the things that will help you be more effective as well as your entire team. And again, it doesn't matter if you're coming from the position of that conference leader, that pastor, or someone else in leadership or who's staffing. So here's the trick to getting people on board. You're going to have people of all technology levels working and partnering with you, right? Now, for your team that's actually completing major tasks, they need to have some level of technology savvy at this point, okay? And that might mean that they need to have calls with each other to kind of bring each other up to date on different things, spend some time learning some things. They might be watching this video as well, but we need to make sure that they have access to a certain level of technology. I know that not everybody that is in your circle, that's part of your church, that's part of your congregation. I know that not everyone has even access to the internet. And we'll talk about that later, more so in another video where we talk about virtual meetings themselves, right? But when we're talking about these tasks that need to be completed, it is important that everyone get on board with the technology. But that having been said, if you want people to get on board, it's extremely important that you give them extremely clear directions. Most of the time, we're apprehensive to learn new things, especially with technology, because the directions are clear as mud, right? And so there's 3 ways that you can give people directions. And I'm going to give you options in terms of what's most to least effective, okay? The first thing is actually showing people, creating like a little video that people can then watch on demand or download to show them how to do something. So if you want them to upload documents to Google Drive, or if you want them to edit something a certain way, if there's some type of visual for them to see it, even if you're showing them, I don't know how to do anything. I mean, anything on a computer whatsoever. Creating a video is usually one of the most effective ways to explain directions. And so I'll give you a tool for that. And actually, let's scoot over to the tool. One of the tools that you can use is called Screencast-Matic. Screencast-Matic. So this is a tool that's really just for that. If you're showing your screen and you're giving directions, you can speak, they can hear you, you can click at things, you can zoom into a specific area of the screen you want them to pay attention to. So this is a really cool item that you can use to explain directions. However, we really don't have to be that techie. The other option we can use is Zoom, which many of you are already familiar with. All you have to do is get on a Zoom by yourself. I do this all the time when I'm giving directions to a vendor or my assistant, especially for something I want them to be able to do over and over again in the future, or if I know that someone else is going to ask how to do that later. I'll get on Zoom by myself, I'll record it, and then I'll create a little video where I'm sharing my screen and I'm showing the other person how to do something. So again, that is the most effective way to communicate directions. Now, I understand that there might be some people that you're trying to communicate or get to do certain things that maybe they don't have internet connections, or maybe they don't have fast enough internet where they can watch a video or download that. That's fine. Then you want to make sure that you're giving extremely clear text directions. And if possible, including pictures in those directions. So you might, insert a little picture with a little arrow pointing to this or that. You can do that in Microsoft Word easily, or Google Doc, where you're putting pictures in there and pointing little arrows to things. That is the second best way to make sure that they're on board. And then the last one, if that's too complicated for you, you can actually write out directions. But if you write out directions, make sure that you're writing them out like you're speaking to a 5-year-old. You want to make sure the directions are amazingly clear so it's impossible for the person to not understand your meaning, because the moment they get frustrated because they don't understand what they're supposed to do, that's when they begin to draw back, and that's when it's harder to get them to follow through. So we want to make sure that we're creating clear directions. Now, the good news is that may not be your calling. Even though you're the leader, you may not be the one creating the directions. You might have someone else that volunteers to create the directions for you on how to do different things. Maybe you explain to them how to do it, or maybe they already know how to do it, but they have this amazing ability to create detailed directions with images, or to create those videos. And so it doesn't have to fall to you, but we want to make sure that we're always giving people clear directions. And actually, I would say the same thing of our church members as well. If you want them to join a Zoom or this or that, if you have a website, I know some of the churches have websites, some do not, putting the little directions there on the things that they need to do to get to the Zoom meeting for the regular weekly service. So including that kind of information there is extremely important.